Awesome. All right. I think we are live.
Great.
And Laura, I'm really excited to be able to talk with you today, talk about, this brand evolution you guys have gone through and how you've been able to take kind of this idea and bring it into market. Um, yeah, so just excited to be able to kind of go through this process with you and hear more about it. I thought maybe we first kick off with just a quick introduction. And yeah,
Sure.
Laura, who are you?
Yeah. So Laura Sullivan, I'm the head of brand and marketing at Inbox Monster. So anything related to our brand, which includes our website, which you all have been just tremendous partners to us in bringing this to life. So it's been a really great process. We started this brand journey like maybe gosh, more than 6 months ago.
Okay.
So it's actually a pretty quick turn for
Wow. Yeah.
some folks who are like in the enterprise space or wherever. But I'm able to move quickly because I have a pretty small team
Yeah.
um, and a great team at Inbox Monsters. So,
Awesome. And how did you get into brand work?
oh, so I actually went to school for journalism. I got a sort of liberal arts degree in
Yeah.
Atlanta, and I went to school for journalism. I got my master's degree, sort of went into the magazine world in New York,
Mm,
right when it was falling apart. Just the right moment. It was a good time to be on the bottom, as I
yeah.
say, like,
Yeah.
because I kept getting more and more work. But I ended up having to figure out a lot of our online presence for the
Mm,
magazine. So I kind of took to digital. And then throughout my career, I got more and more into photography, visuals, just the whole digital landscape. And that's kind of how I got into it. Eventually, I landed at Brightwave, which is an
mm,
email focused agency here
yeah.
in Atlanta. And I worked there, Brightwave, then in Sierra for 8+ years and was the creative director there. So I kind of had to do the words and the pictures
Yep.
and got really into design and branding and messaging and all of those sorts of things.
Amazing. Yeah, I just, it's funny. I studied English and philosophy but also just kind of started kind of hanging out in the computer lab. And I was like, oh, this internet thing looks cool. And
Yeah.
I feel like liberal arts is such a great background for understanding how to communicate stories and listen and be able to synthesize like a lot of weird and sort of strange ideas into sort of one unique perspective. And yeah, and I think like that's something we try to do in our work. We try to take this like story first approach. I think this is something that I love about the Inbox Monster brand is how
Mhm.
sort of bold it is. And I'd
Yeah.
love to first talk about, you know, who is Inbox Monster? Give me a bit of background
Yeah.
around um, the company and how you guys have kind of
Sure.
grown up as a company, and then I'd love to get into sort of like the brand evolution, and then we can just start to go from there. So, tell me a bit
Yeah.
about Inbox Monster.
Absolutely. So we are a company, a platform that really helps big brands send better emails.
Okay.
So that can be everything before you press send. So how does your email look? Are there any broken links? How's
Mm,
it going to look in dark mode in different browsers and on different
mm,
devices? So that pre-send workflow, and then everything after you hit send. Did it land in the inbox? Did it land in the spam folder? Is your reputation strong? Did you hit any spam traps? So,
yeah.
if you are an enterprise brand sending emails and you don't know those things and you're just blindly, kind of pressing send or just getting the metrics that you get out of your sending tool, you're really missing a lot.
Hmm.
So, that's what we do. We also have a level of services on top of it that our customers really like. So, yeah, I mean, we really have done a lot of good in the marketplace, I think, and we're kind of on the side of email geeks everywhere. We're empowering them to send better emails.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know that whenever we've done even just kind of like email campaigns for us as a company, there's always sort of this trepidation around like, am I
Mhm.
going to like ruin my domain authority and like
Uh-huh.
how is this going to be received and is this the right type of list and did I break a bunch of stuff or like all those types of things. And so yeah, I think being able to have almost like this x-ray vision, if I was to make a metaphor here, into just
Yeah.
what is today, what is tomorrow, how does this all start to look, that's really compelling. And it's amazing. It's one of these things that you talk about it, and it's like, yeah, that should always just be there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, exactly. What is really happening in the inbox?
yeah,
And you can imagine, I get super nervous when I'm sending emails overall.
yep,
And I was like sending scaries. When
hmm
you multiply them and you're sending to millions and millions of people, like that's so scary. So,
yeah, and you
our
can't undo
job
it,
is
right? I mean, it's
no,
like you send it, and it's
can't
almost
unsend.
yeah. You mentioned starting um in publishing, right? And so
Hmm.
it's that same type of thing. Like you hit
Yeah,
publish, and it's not like with your website where it's like, oh, because that's honestly one of the things I love about the web. Like I'm a notoriously bad speller, but I can always go back in and be like, oh, whatever, just I'm optimizing, and be able to have those little ways of making corrections along the way. And
yeah,
email, it's much more like print, where it's like you hit send, it is all of a sudden in. You might be able to behind the scenes update an image or something along those lines, but
yeah,
chances are it's going to be cached and it's there.
yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So it can be a little bit terrifying. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about like the sending scaries a lot, but our job is to sort of make it less scary,
Yep.
be on the side of the sender, give them all the data and signals that they need to do it without having sweaty palms. Just
Yeah.
push the button. Uh,
That's
so,
that's that's awesome. And where was Inbox Monster founded?
it's an interesting story, but a lot of our product folks are up in Canada in the
Okay.
Toronto area. And we're really everywhere.
Okay.
Our headquarters is in Charlotte, technically. We
Hmm.
have some folks in Atlanta here. And it's really a bunch of like minded, people who have been in this CRM space for a long time,
Okay.
came together and saw this big need in the
Hmm.
marketplace where, our landscape overall has been consolidating. So a lot of different companies have been merging together. Maybe there hasn't been kind of the optimal experience for enterprise brands or mid-sized brands looking for solutions.
Hmm.
Certainly not solutions that have the customer first. And so they saw this need like, hey, we can create the best tool out there. We could do it even better. And we can do it in a way that is a delight that our customers are going to love. So that's how we came about.
That's
And it's been you know, just rocket launching since then. The innovation that we've brought to the marketplace is just like the pace of innovation is so
wow.
crazy. Our product team is the best, the absolute best. So that makes it really fun for me.
Yeah. You,
I
you got a lot to talk about.
got a lot to talk about. And, just from a brand perspective, so 3.5 years ago when I started, we just kind of put a brand together.
Huh.
Just like, okay, go, we need a brand, let's go, website. So I didn't really have the time to think through that story or to take a
Oh,
bold swing that I knew I wanted to take with this
yeah.
really cool brand because we have so much that we're standing on that we can say in the market. So this project was a dream project for me. So I sort of got a lot of things stood up and
Huh.
then was able to take a breath and really do this the way that I wanted to, which was working with incredible brand agency Verve out of the Netherlands.
Hmm.
They just are wacky geniuses, just this childlike, creativity that they bring to every single project immediately hooked me. They were awesome partners. So working with them and then even working to create a custom font, which is like my personal dream project,
Wow.
being like the wordsmith and the visual design person, I was like, "Phew, I just put a font. And
Yeah.
that was so much fun to create. Truly like a dream project for me. And then, going on the search to say, okay, I know that our billboard to the world is our website
Huh.
and it has to do a lot of things really, really well and you all came recommended to me, and I was like, a local agency, we could meet up. We could meet up at Sweatshards. Imagine. So it all worked out really beautifully to find you all.
That's fantastic. And it sounds like sounds like you've almost been there since the beginning, right? In terms of helping to
Oh
found
yeah.
like the
Mhm.
direction. And I love the idea of taking the scaries out of email. And that makes so much sense with this idea of, inbox monster and all that stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
And letting the brand breathe. So kind of getting a first draft, getting something up and
Yes.
out. letting it breathe, and then being able to really, once you've refined a bunch of that stuff, like go deep and be like, great, let's bring in this brand agency. Let's make sure that we've gone in and done the second draft within our site, and
Yes,
be able to go from there.
exactly. Yeah, being able to really think through the marketplace
Yep.
and the brand story and think about our monster and how does he fit. Oh, truly, though, we're all monsters. We're going
Mhm.
to link arms together. We're going to do this thing better. So, thinking through those things, I think gave us a really nice, like,
Mm.
visual foundation. So, yeah.
That's great. Did you was there any kind of like drive for cans or anything along those lines that you were backing out from? I just know that there was different people that were getting their site together for the Cannes festival.
Oh, no, not
Oh,
really. I
okay.
mean, for me, like, so the big thing that really worked out, I mean, it was in the back of my mind, but I'm like, however long it takes to get this
Yep.
right is what we're going to do. But we did just have a very successful conference back to back weeks.
Hmm.
And so I really wanted us to be live there because I knew we could create a big splash, and we did.
Hmm.
And just so many people came up to me, people I expected who, I know are following us and
Sure.
cheering us on. People I did not expect at all. Just
Hmm.
like, God, your website is amazing. And that feels really good. So
Uh,
we came out swinging at the Salesforce conference. And then our big partner, Movable Inc., has a conference in New York.
hmm.
They do a tremendous job. So we came out swinging with the brand and with the new property and with the website at these conferences. And that was pretty good timing.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I know a lot of times it's about how you're getting in front of customers, and I think being able to have that face to face is really important. And I know I'm looking forward to grabbing tacos with you, and you were able to meet some of the team. I think within the process, and
Yep,
that's really awesome.
totally.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
so I'm curious around like, okay, so you were able to get some of the initial ideas. What were you seeing in the marketplace where you're like, yeah, I know we need to be able to tell a better story, but what are you seeing kind of in the marketplace where you needed to be able to go and get more credit for, I think, the work and the velocity of your product team?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. So first of all, I mean, the real uh, motivator behind this brand was to make something as awesome as the product
Mhm.
itself.
Yep.
Like, let's showcase how really amazing this is. And the thing happened to me that happens to everyone. Where, like, you make something really cool, you put it on the website, then put another thing, then put another thing, and then it's just a list of
Yeah.
products, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's not solving any problems. So, you know, being able to go back and rethink that and say, no, what are we doing for the customer,
Mm.
and orient a lot of our messaging around that. That was very important. But there was also all of this consolidation in the marketplace, which I mentioned, and kind of the cool brands that this community rallies around
Mm.
we're becoming vanilla, or we're becoming not really the place that reflected who we are. So there was really this empty hole. Like, what is the cool new brand where this
Mm.
community can gather and rally behind? So it all kind of happened at the same time for us that we were able to kind of step in and say, "Hey, we get you. We're right here."
Yeah. Yeah. I think having that boldness and playfulness, but still, showing up professionally, it's the
Yes.
thing that people can get tripped up over, or go one way or the other. I mean, we've done our fair share of blue sites and web and like financial services, or
Yes.
like green has been recent for like fintech and
Apps.
some
Yes. Yes.
B2B, and things along those lines. And I think the color palette was one of the first things that I kind of zeroed in on around sort of that playfulness and how to be able to own that and be able to do something that would, just start to grab the attention of people, because people see so many, like there's so much MarTech that's out there,
Oh,
and how
yes.
to be able to break through that and be
Mhm.
able to just share the story around like what, you guys are doing and the benefits that you can bring.
Yeah. And I would say, the Edgar Allan team really took this foundation of like, look at all these cool elements we have and put them together in a really brilliant way to bring it to life in the way that was true to who we are.
Mm.
So I think there's a big kudos to the team for saying, you can have all these elements, but if they don't fit into one story,
Yeah.
it doesn't do you any good. So the team was tremendous in their interpretation of all the elements and really telling a good story together. So,
That's just like that's the best, right? That's the sort
mhm.
of like where we absolutely try to make sure that we're running towards, and we have this idea of trying to be story first, right? So story is the most fundamental
Mhm.
way in which we come to know the world. Um, it's how we listen. I think story listening is this thing that we talk a lot about. So you'd listen to your customer. We really wanted to listen to like where you were seeing the brand, and then from there, like how do we path that out and have something that's going to be interesting but also something that you guys can take ownership over, because
Yes.
we didn't want to make something that was going to be so elaborate that all of a sudden like you can't manage it, or like you're just trying to make an update and you're fighting through whatever to try to just be like I got to get a white paper out and be able to because your brand's evolving. Like it's not
Yeah.
this is the starting line, it's not the finish. So what is
I,
yeah,
I was just
anything.
going to speak a little bit to the process of how you guys did that really well. I think from the first kind of listening session, which was so lovely that we could do it in person, asking all the right questions, actually listening, and every part of the team was there. From Chesley, being a sort of creative
Yeah,
guide of the process, to our development team, to our project manager, Catherine, who really is more than a project manager
yeah,
because she understands the nuances of creative and what's going to work and not work. And I would ask her advice throughout the way, like, should I put the copy here? Or is that a really bad idea? She'd be like, that's maybe not the best idea. I'm like, yes,
yeah,
ma'am. So everyone was involved in that initial conversation to understand, okay, here's what we're trying to do. And then the wireframing process. So I built a lot of websites before for customers when I was in agencies. There's a way to do it where you just make a bunch of wireframes and then go right to the wireframes.
yep,
That is not how we did things. We really started with story and an outline of the story we were trying to tell on overall and then on each individual page,
hmm,
and then got into sort of the copy and the micro story within, filling in the details before we went to design. And I think that's a really key part of the process. You may not do that with every company, but for me, that helped us to lead with story.
yeah. No, that's the process, right? So it's just like we love technology, but how is it that we can just understand what's the fundamentals? What do we need to be able to communicate? How are we listening to you? And then also, how do we go and create space for you to listen to your customer and
Yes.
like be able to fill in more of those details and have ways to do CRO or all of those types of things that now can start to play with and
Yeah.
see
Yep.
where that evolves.
Totally. And then, the next phase of the process is like, all right, we ironed out this story. And I
Yeah.
mean, mind you, like I was like, oh, joking to my colleagues, like, oh, I actually work at Edgar Allan now. I don't really work at Inbox Monster anymore because we were collaborating so
Yeah.
closely through the whole thing. But then Rocio, who was working on sort of the UX and the experience, then she was pulling out ideas for,
Mhm.
okay, I see what you're trying to say here. How do I match an experience to that? And I think that process is just brilliant, for a company like ours.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think for you, the other thing that I just love, and I'd love to be able to hear more from you on, is we intentionally built a blended team, right? Because we needed to make sure that yes, like we've got all this work to do. We also have a budget that we need to be able to work within, and you guys also like you're the subject matter experts here. So there's a
sure.
lot that you're just in your heads that you wanted to be able to express. And I think what was again, listening to our team, because this is the first time that we've talked and, I was able to get a lot of this secondhand, but how, you really were open to this sort of like collaboration and partnership. And I'd love to hear from you around, I'd hear Chesley assigning homework, and
Yeah.
like being able to get that going. So what worked within the blended team and what are the things that we should take to like future engagements, or what advice would you give to other marketing teams that are thinking about going through this process?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
And I
I
know
mean,
also I sent you an outline and I'm not following it, but like, so,
no, I'm not one for outlines. Don't
okay,
worry.
like,
I'm off the cuff here. So I would say first and foremost, this is interesting, but we never emailed each other.
hmm,
Almost never.
yeah,
We had our Slack channel on. And I've never really used Slack in this way before, but it was almost an extension of the project management tool.
Yep. Yep.
So we had different canvases that we were using to stay organized. So we had this very clear communication from the
Mhm.
beginning, right? And then I think there was also, because we got to meet in person, and even with folks that weren't here,
Sure.
I think there was like a trust. And I told them like, hey, uh, you can consider me your copywriter and your, UX writer, whatever you want to consider me. If something is bad, I want you to tell me it's bad.
Yeah.
So we just kind of established trust, right? There's a
Mm.
creative trust, and there's a way to give creative feedback.
Yep.
Obviously, not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very tastefully given in both directions, I think. But I think you have to have enough trust to just say, no, something's not right here. And I did the same as we went through
Yep.
design and
Yep.
everything else. Like, nope, something ain't right here. Well, what's the solution? Let's figure it
Mm.
out. So I think it's that a place for
Mhm.
communication, the trust to communicate openly, and then I think we had the right people on deck at the right
Mm.
time.
Yep.
So, like, it just kinda changed as I went
Mhm.
through the process. Like, there were some people coming with us, but then there'd be a new, like, Lemmy coming on, when we got to that phase and he
Yep.
came on board, I'm like, "Oh, here's a whole other human who's well-versed in Webflow
Yep.
particularly, and how we're gonna bring it to life there." So, we just had the right talent at the right moment that
Mhm.
we needed it, which I would have never been able to do on my own.
Yeah, and I think that's the sort of advantage we try to bring of Chesley will say this, like the right people doing the right times at the right moment, or
Yep.
the right thing at the right times.
Mhm.
And that also goes back to a lot of like we do a lot of upfront planning and project management so that we can have some general like, okay, let's it's gonna be right here and then time for you to be able to take things internally because it's not just about you working on things, it's making sure you're taking it back to the larger team,
Mhm.
giving everyone
Yep.
previews, no surprises. And
Yep.
then from there, revisions going through, being able to have that back and forth, open
Yep.
dialogue.
Totally.
And I think like it's a sort of like this grace to try some things that might not necessarily be the right direction all the time, but to also just sort of that push and pull. Um,
Yeah, it's funny, the homepage had, like, too much animation in the beginning, which
yeah.
it was just, like, throwing some things in and, like,
Yep.
we had already established that trust, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
let's go a little bit too far and see what happens. And I was like, okay, there's one too many things going on right
Yeah.
here, right now. Like, what do we do about it? And we did. We landed on something that's amazing,
Mm.
but it takes that where you can like go a little bit too far and then step it back and go, well, what if we did this? What if we did that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And animation is
that's
one of
how it
those
worked.
things where, as we said, just trying to find that line between like playful and professional. And,
Yes.
someone's coming in and like they're leaving a Zoom call. It might be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, kind of zonked, heard about this, just need like give me the basics. And, our inclination be like, look at our monsters and like, there's
They're
eyes.
raining down from the
Yeah,
sky.
there's eyes
Yeah.
following you everywhere and stuff like that. And so I think, yeah, as you said, and you guys took like a really sort of tactful approach of like, yes, this is still about conversion. This is about making sure that we're telling our story, getting credit, getting attention, and then having some areas where it is going to be playful. And, there's, it almost, I feel like, warms up as the page goes down
Yeah.
where you're getting a little bit more. And then at the end, it's like, well, bam, like, hey, before you leave. Right. So,
Right. Like, we're
um,
here. Woo, let's do
yeah.
this. Exactly. Yeah. And I think, where we are as kind of a challenger brand in the marketplace, like we have to, I think on the product pages in particular, we have to immediately establish that like we are a player in this game. Like
Mhm.
we are
Yep.
doing things nobody else is doing. And then as you go down the page, it can sort of, most of those follow the like, we solve problems for these are all the
Yep.
problems we can solve
Yep.
for you. And then it just becomes more fun. And it's
Yeah.
like, if we've done
Yeah.
it for other brands, woo, look.
As you're talking with your customers and you're at these events like, with Salesforce and whatever, like, what are you hearing from other CMOs? Like, what are you hearing from other people
Mm.
and marketing? What are the things that are like they're worried about and that you're seeing as, opportunities?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's been really interesting. So many fresh conversations. I was just talking to my colleague. He was like, I think I talked to 700 people this in the
Oh
last
my
two
God.
weeks. I'm like, oh my God, I think you did. But we had so many rich conversations. I think, first and foremost, there has been for years a perception that email is this like stodgy old channel.
Mhm.
And time and again, we find that no matter where the market shifts, email is a reliable channel to be personal,
Sure.
and it can be a place where really cool AI experiences come to life with like DaVinci and Movable Ink and some of our partners. So, I think first and foremost, there's still, from a CMO's perspective, this real reliance on email. And
Mhm.
even as maybe budgets are frozen up or tighten up,
Mhm.
we're the reliable channel where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. So I think that's a very heartening
Mm.
conversation to
Yeah.
still see this industry really strong. Um, I think we have a strategic advantage in that we're really focused on innovation. We're nimble. We have the right team. We have the right people, and we have honestly this great pipeline of feedback from our customers who
Mm.
are outstanding to do some really cool, innovative stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's exciting to be recognized for that and for
Yeah.
people to actually get excited about it.
And I think like, email is one of these owned media channels, right? It's like it's an area where at least, this is your list, it's your people, like them, you've got a lot of information. Like these are
Yes.
customers you've maybe worked before and you need to be able to maybe remind them of some things or just say hello or whatever. And with everything that's happening, right? So like, earned media,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of challenges there. Like
Oh yeah.
everything is shifting, right? Earned and paid is shifting.
Sure.
I think one of the things I'm really excited about is sort of what I would say is the rise of owned media in a really
Yes.
meaningful way. And
A blog post I'm trying to write really
okay.
hard is about the new newsletter and
Hmm.
how this distrust of social media in particular
Yep.
is leading people to just go to their own audiences, just
Yeah.
have a direct conversation with your people. And newsletters like that are really personality driven
Mhm.
are exploding. Like Beehive is an example of that. They use our tool, and they're this network of individual creators that are
Cool.
making newsletters, and they make it really easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
There's that. I mean, there's obviously like Notion, and there's
Sure.
Substacks, and all these other tools that are making it easier for people to lean into their own media. And I
Yeah.
think it's a super interesting moment for us.
Yeah, and I think with all of this other sort of noise that's happening, being able to just like have a trusted source and be able to have some personality and personalization that you're mixing in there.
Yes.
That really is, we're seeing that as well, right? So we're seeing
Mhm.
where marketers are being asked to do more with not necessarily
Yes.
a bigger budget
Mhm.
and looking at how, you know, email being a real centering piece of that, customers that they could re-engage in. And I think for you guys trying to, as you said, like take out the scaries so that they're being really judicious around that investment and effort, right? So it's
Mhm.
you've got to maintain that brand authority. You've got to maintain like the trust with that list, and that you're not showing up in a way that's going to be like broken images or however, like, because getting all that right to begin with is really difficult. And as we said
Yeah.
earlier, like hitting publish and you know, there's no undo button unlike the web.
Yeah.
And, that's an area where I think you guys are really excelling. And yeah, as you have like get a draft of your article, um, I'd love to read it. And
Yes. Give me some notes. I would love to
yeah,
have your notes.
I think this idea of owned media is something that I've just really started to talk more about, and especially as we're getting into the web, where for a long time the web was just sort of a brochure, and it's like you
Mhm.
made it and you publish it, and didn't really like it was really hard to make updates for, and there wasn't a
Mhm.
lot of ways to optimize, or like you maybe had GA4, but that was about selling you ads. It wasn't about making your site experience better.
Sure.
Um,
Well,
so
that's
yeah,
the tremendous thing about Webflow. So
yeah,
for me, the difference, and if anyone's tuning in, and this was a big selling point of our conversation, just that going from WordPress, which felt like that brochure,
yeah,
and I had to have a developer make every little update to every little word, going from that to Webflow, where I can literally edit my site live. Like, I can just go, "Oh, we wanna change that? Okay, cool," and just change it really quick. It's mind-boggling to people who are like, if you've been through, like, whatever, a
yeah,
2-week turnaround time to change one number on one page, to just be able to do it. And we're already, whatever, less than 2 weeks, post-launch. making new landing pages.
Yeah.
We're like, hmm, well, I just want to make a page that's specifically for this audience. It's going to kind of look like this one, but we need to change these three things. Boom, boom, boom. And like, we're already there. It's
You're
queued up
done.
to
Yeah.
publish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're already there 2 weeks out. So there's a learning curve, obviously,
And
but the skill set on my team is mostly creatives and marketers. So we're not like super technical and we are feeling really confident. And part
amazing.
of that was because of our homework that we did.
Yes,
And like the
it's
team pushed us a little bit to
yeah,
say, you do that update. And I'm like, are you sure? And they're like, yes, do it.
yeah.
Here's how. And I would actually do some of, I did a lot of the refinement work
Mhm.
and the edits just so that I was feeling really comfortable. Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear. And one of our things that we do really focus on is like, let's build together. And so it's
Hmm.
not a cold handoff.
Yeah.
And I've seen some marketing teams where they will have that trepidation because you've been trained through WordPress or Sitecore or whatever that like, oh, I need to pick
I
up a
can't
walk.
touch
I
this.
can't touch it. I've
Yes.
got to pick up a walkie talkie and like file a ticket and hope that that happens within a couple weeks. And
Hmm.
it's almost like deprogramming to be like, hey, if you can work in Google Slides, you can work in this, right? So you don't need to call your agency to go in and create a new slide. You can
No,
just like say, hey, here we are. Let's go through and put this together. I don't know. Are you guys working in builder mode or in like designer mode? Like what modes are you working in?
in both. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll flip back and forth a little bit. Because we have a lot of building blocks. Our site's not extremely complicated. We didn't want it to be, but we have the building blocks in place that we could do both. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think, with getting into landing pages and working within the builder mode, and that's easier, right? So you just like be like, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Nav bar, header, left, right, Q&A, whatever, be able to get that up. And then, but
Hmm.
still, if you need to be able to do like a little bit more, add piece of tracking code or something along those lines or a new form, that you
Yeah.
still have that flexibility.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. The little things like adding to the headers or
Yep.
changing our form submissions. Right. Like we need that flexibility too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think that even like how long was the full project? So from like kickoff to launch.
So I think Chesley counted that it was 6 weeks. No, that's not right.
I think we were
60
looking.
days. No,
Okay.
that's not right either. Hold on. I'll have to look up the number. He counted it, and
Okay.
it was basically it would have been 3 months, but we launched a little early,
Yes.
which has any person ever said those words?
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know.
well, we've had sort of this trend where we launched Flowcast recently, and we launched about a week early on a Friday because they had product launches they wanted to launch on a Tuesday, and so like, oh, we want to get the site up and like over a weekend, and
Yeah, same.
we did you guys launch on a Friday?
We ended up launching on Thursday instead of Friday. That was
Okay,
our one day early.
one day earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what was that like? What was post launch like? Did you spend the weekend fixing bugs or having the site go down? What was that like?
Oh, I mean, definitely not the site go down. There were like technical things that we had to unravel of like, oh wait, this form needs to speak to
Mm,
this tool.
yep,
So there's still like technical little things that pop up that the team has been really great though. If I'm like, hey, oh God, I usually it's because I didn't think about this one thing. Then we could just kind of crush it together and
yeah,
give me some instruction to figure it out. So we had some of that. We didn't have any issues with the visuals of the site, the loading. I mean, none of that. It's all flawless and
yeah.
it still looks amazing. Inboxmonster.com.
That's right. You go and check it out. Yeah,
Gotta give my plug. But there's sort of technical things in the back end that, we posted our first blog post. So we're like, wait a minute, how do you reshuffle
mm,
the pinned blog post, right?
yep,
Oh, okay. But you just kind of learn it and figure it out. It's not complicated.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's always like the the ability to come in and just get sort of an understanding of what's the workflows and how do you bring people in. And what we often see is Webflow will be the easier part, and then getting that, a form will need, it's looking for a very specific sort of like URL reference or things
Yeah.
along those lines. Um, So yeah, we actually, launching on a Thursday, Friday is um and launching early has been a theme, but at least
Oh,
that way it's their lower traffic days. We can harden a couple things, and
yeah.
like I think there was updates that we're making on that Friday, but I know that our team wasn't necessarily like we weren't slammed that weekend. There wasn't a lot. There was
No, it
nothing.
wasn't like super
Yeah,
stressful. I mean, there were little things where like, oh gosh, let me fix this or, you know, whatever. Oh, a number in an image
yeah,
should have been a different number. It's completely my fault. Swap out this image, so little
yep,
things like that that I think are an inevitable part of launch.
yeah,
The cool thing is that I looked at the numbers yesterday and sort of we had our normal site traffic, been pretty steady. I mean, it's been steadily climbing, but pretty normal with our old site. We almost doubled that within 2
whoa,
weeks. Yeah. Part of it is also that our organic branded search has, like, shot up because we were just everywhere. Like, people were
yeah,
just going, "Inbox Monster, what's that?" Which is great. That's exactly what I want to happen,
yeah,
but our overall traffic doubled.
incredible.
Yeah.
That I can't wait to tell the team. I've got so many notes that I'm going to go back and take to them. So really, really excited about that. How did you prepare for this migration? Like moving off of platforms is, it can feel like open heart surgery. It's like we got to go
Mhm.
and take the heart of this and move it over here. How did you guys go through making sure that you had your ducks in a row and what that was going to look like?
Yikes. I mean,
And if you didn't
for
like,
me
and I know that we looked at a lot of stuff, so I can talk to things on
yeah,
our side.
yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. I I'm part of a small team and, I did a lot of kind of go-to-market strategy work and
Yeah.
messaging work and close with our product team thinking about, okay, what's the next evolution of this gonna look like? Let's build for the future. That type of research was really important to me
Uh-huh.
so that the site can live on and
Yep.
grow with us.
Yep.
Um, but in terms of the sort of technical things, honestly, I didn't do too much. I just I went through a spreadsheet. We looked together through everything and said, okay, what
Yeah.
needs to be transferred, what doesn't need to be transferred,
Uh-huh.
and had to make some decisions there. Had to do some really hard work. My partner in crime, bless her, had to go through and like redo every single block image
Yeah.
because we really want to keep the juice
Yep.
of those. Things like that were tiresome, but necessary, and redoing every customer story.
Mm.
And like going to our customers and saying, we would love to feature you on our site. We're so proud of our relationship and them
Yeah.
saying yes. So a lot of that stuff is, was necessary work.
Mhm.
Um, but it didn't feel too overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, I know that on our side, the first thing that we start with is a site audit, and we'll go through and kind of crawl all the pages, and then look at like what are we going to migrate, what are we going to keep, what are we going to edit, and then what are we going to remove. So starting with that tagging,
Yep.
the blog items, that's something that we can sort of export out as a CSV and bring that back in.
Yes.
But it's, small edits to make sure that the new brand is coming to life, because this wasn't just a one-to-one migration. We were really replatforming and then embracing the new brand and bringing that to life.
Yeah.
Um,
We went through and touched every single blog post,
yeah. Yeah. Just
checking the
if you want,
formatting, redoing visuals. Yeah. Well,
yeah, if you want like those long tail pages to still feel like the new brand, then making sure that you've got, updated imagery and, all that coming through is really important. And
yeah. And part of the work that happened with our teams in collaboration is really thinking through our SEO
yeah,
strategy. So we appreciated that audit, and then we really thought hard together about okay, which are the 60 words that we need to go
yeah,
after. Do these make sense? How do we integrate them in a way that our brand is the most important thing to us? We're never
sure.
going to budge on that.
Yep.
But let's be smart about this.
Yeah. Yeah. What in the SEO process, what do you think was helpful there? What should other teams take away?
Um, I think, Michael on your team came with a lot of big energy.
Yeah. It's great.
He was really great. And I don't know who had this idea, but there was a brilliant idea. We have all of our help center articles that are a little bit more, they're a little bit less
Mm,
brand forward, they're a little bit more sort of technical.
mm,
Can we adapt those and bring our SEO ideas to life? And that's what we
mm.
ended up doing. So it
Okay.
was a very brilliant idea of like, okay, and we want people who are in that deep consideration phase
Yep.
to be able to get that deeper level info anyway.
Yeah.
So it's good for the customer and it's good for SEO. That to me is like, okay, this is a win that we can do.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what we decided.
Yeah. I think having, because a lot of the top of funnel stuff is happening not just in Google search, but in like AI search. And
Yes.
then it's being referenced down into like all of the, that's where those help articles really come into play. Like Q&A is really important. And looking at, answer optimization
Yeah.
is really a thing that we're seeing as a big trend. And as we're seeing like, you know, search, there's this, we're on the flip side of what you're on, which is like sometimes you'll get these like clickbait articles of like the internet's going away. And it's like the internet's not going away. And the top of the funnel is definitely going to be more conversational, but the role of the website is to be able to, wrap all that up, atomize the content, make sure that that's
Yeah.
being fed into the right type of way. Cause otherwise the, search engines or the AI engines are really just going to look at whatever is out there, whatever is being said about you.
Hmm.
And so this is
Hmm.
a way to start to clue people in on, oh, this is really what we do. Here's our actual products. Here's how they all work. And then once they're coming in, mid funnel, down funnel, whatever, that you've got all of those nitty gritty pieces where people can dig in. And those are great customers where they've vetted a lot of this stuff already. They're
They've done their research,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And maybe some of that research has been compiled for them so that they're
Hmm.
coming in maybe even more considered than they would, you know, 3 years ago, whatever, where it was like, oh, I'm going to land, then I'm going to try to poke around and, see if I can start to understand, what you guys do.
Absolutely. And I mean, from my perspective, like the brand could not be more important.
Yes.
If you've entered through some sort of search where you're like, I'm landing in the spam folder, go
Yeah.
to Chat GPT, go, what do I do? I'm landing in the spam folder. And somehow you get into Inbox Monster and you go into a sort of whatever, some kind of spam trap
Yeah.
section of our site that's really deep into our site. I
Yep.
need you to also be able to look at our brand and go, oh, wow,
Yes.
they're legit. They get me. They
Yep.
understand my experience. So, to me, like brand has never been more important. So we have to do both. We have to
Yes.
serve both sort of masters at the same time. And
Yep.
I think we found a way to do that on the site. So,
That's awesome. And yeah, I think people are still judging based on how something feels, right? So there's going to be
mhm,
the yep, okay, I've got my checklist, but the checklist is you can get that checklist in 1,000 different ways. And this is where it's like, okay, I understand where this company is going, be able to see that innovation, the personality, and how that can come through. And so
totally.
I'm curious. All
Yeah.
right. So what are you looking forward to? What's next? Like, what's kind of exciting for you? What's on the horizon, both for Inbox Monster, but just within, marketing in general?
Ooh, there's so much energy and excitement around Inbox Monster right now. I think coming off the heels of these shows where we see that our messages like perfectly
Yeah.
speaks to our customers and what they need. It's just like, we're so excited. And then we have some big product announcements coming out, a lot of really cool innovations in the marketplace. I think I'm not breaking any rules by saying Monster Labs is going to be like our next big thing where we have some really cool innovations.
Oh, cool.
Don't know if that name is permanent, but that's the concept. And so, being able to do big product launches with this new site and this new brand, I just can't wait. I feel like, yes, finally, I'm like, we've got it all. So I'm very excited to launch a big product with this new kind of these new tools and this new landscape. And, that's my immediate excitement, I guess.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I think that's what's fun, right? So being able to understand a need that's in the market, build things around that need with people that you admire and you're really excited about, and it sounds like you guys have built a really great team, and then be able to share that with the world and watch people get excited about it as well.
Exactly. Like that's the dream. And we've been doing that, but I have felt like, ugh, why
Yeah,
is it
just
so difficult to get the
yeah.
message out there? Like what this isn't quite I'm not quite able to like pick up that megaphone and shout it out like I need to. So that's what I'm excited about for
Well,
this summer, hopefully.
I'm thrilled to hear that like you're feeling like really empowered to own your story and be able to drive that forward, listen, react, be able to work so that it's not locked down because the Inbox Monster, it's a dynamic brand, and that's
Yes.
so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think huge, huge kudos to your team for just being the kind of partners that are delightful to work with, first of
Yeah.
all. That we can build fun and rapport and
Yep.
trust with each other, and for just having the expertise to pull it off in a way that's useful in the long term. So thank you.
Well, yeah. Well, and again, thank you as well because you're just like the emblematic type of person we love to work with, where coming with a ton of ideas, you and your team really pushed us to be better, and we were able to again, like, build something that we're both really proud of, have that back and forth, have some structure, but have some flexibility. And for today, I just wanted to again, like, take a bit of a victory lap, like, say, like, this has
Yeah.
been
Woohoo.
awesome. And yeah, I'm again, like, really looking forward to getting together with you in person, and
Yeah.
go grab some tacos somewhere, get the team together. So love to get that on the calendar, and maybe August. So get get
Yeah.
s- get some time there. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I can kind of wrapping up, but anything else you wanted to kind of leave with, or
I don't know. I I don't think so. I mean, I am definitely just thankful and walking away with a really positive experience and relieved. I'm ready to go sit on a beach in Puerto Rico, which I've got
nice.
9 days. The countdown's on my refrigerator. I'm like 9 days, 9 days. So,
Amazing.
uh,
Well,
that'll be my
well
true
deserved.
victory lap.
Yeah, there you go. That's well deserved. And yeah, so thanks for coming on today. Awesome to be able to talk with you, get to know a bit more about you and your brand, and look forward to our next conversation.
Same here. Looking forward
Awesome.
to it.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.